Welcome to the Beautiful Game. As always, I am Blake here with Ferris.
Hola.
And Ron.
What's happening?
Still doing things remotely from the great Central Florida area as we're all slowly waiting for whatever the next phase of life is about to be. But in the meantime...
Are we on like phase 4 now or something? I have no clue what phase we're technically in here in Central Florida.
But at least we've got some soccer that's actually happening right now.
This is true.
That's a thing.
Finally.
It's a beautiful thing. Got to watch the derby between Dortmund and Bayern today. That was nice.
It's technically not a derby.
Well, yeah, it's
one of the biggest games in German football, but It's not a derby. Yeah,
not a derby, but it sure basically is.
Yeah, it's a very, very big game.
Yeah, it has all the hallmarks of.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've got some Bundesliga to talk about. Maybe kind of sort of some Premier League news to talk about.
A little bit, very little bit, yeah.
Yeah, more in the vein of maybe.
Right.
Like it's what's going on there. And then let's see, Ferris, anything else on your content?
Maybe a little La Liga update, and that's about it.
All right, cool. Yeah, it's pretty quiet. Kind of quiet on the MLS front too and everything around here too. So, all right.
Yeah.
So, we're going to have us not one, but two beers this episode.
Woohoo. We, in fact, are.
Yeah, and so, Ferris, you got and what's nice is we could all actually get together over the last day or two and exchange some beers so that we all are finally doing the same beers together for the first time in 4 or 5 episodes.
Yeah. Thank God.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. I do miss the oh my God, this is so good. I want you to enjoy it. And you guys aren't there.
Yeah. Yeah, I know exactly how that feels.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, it's true. That's pretty much been Ron for a bit now. So what do you got, Ferris? The first one's all you, right?
First one is all me. This is a beer that I know I've been telling you guys about for a while now, and as we are doing this remotely, I was able to drop it off to you guys earlier today, and Ron dropped off our second beer to all of us. So we're all going to have the same beer, just in different locations. But this beer is actually a collab between 2 local breweries here in the Central Florida area. And to be honest, I'm going to give this a very high remark, and I hope that you guys like it, because it is easily the best beer that I have had since locally in this area since I've been up here.
That's some high praise.
It is that
no
good.
pressure. No pressure.
Exactly. It is that good. But from
Garrettsville Brewing in New York.
Exactly.
Butternut Brewing.
Butternuts Brewing proudly presents
Pomplamoose Ale.
The Atomic Hairy Balls Ale.
It's a collaboration between Butternut Brewing and LaCroix.
Yeah, exactly. God almighty. But this is between Bogiwens Beer Company and Tactical Brewing. Bogiwens is in Castleberry, Florida, and Tactical is in the Winter Park area nearest downtown.
And Tactical Ferris, we tried at that beer festival 3 years ago before they had a place, right? Right before they
Correct, I believe so. It is owned and operated by former vets, I believe, of Iraq, and they always have some really good beers. A cool brewery, as is Bogiwens, who's been putting out some fantastic beers. But way back on March 27th, actually, they released this collab, and it's called Third Wheel Hopgoblin. It's a South Coast IPA with hibiscus and dragon fruit. Has an ABV of 8.3. If I forgot to mention to you guys that you should be pouring this out into a pint glass to see it, that would be ideal.
Pint glasses, since I know the styles today, I got 2 made for pale ale glasses, buddy, ready to roll.
Love it. So at least, Ron, if you don't, I actually just have it in the can because I've seen it before. But you'll be able to see this thing.
I'm good. I'm ready.
So it's a South Coast IPA, again with hibiscus and dragon fruit, 8.3 on the ABV sale. It went out for pre-order with Bogiwens and was pretty much sold out that next day. that's how much this beer just intrigued everyone. When I went to actually pick it up for the first time, one of the brewers there that was working said this is easily one of the best beers he's had as well. And that's before I even tried it. But he was like, this thing is just, it's not what you think it is, and it's fantastic. So
I also like that it came
Instagram page,
in an unmarked silver bullet.
Yes, and this one actually came from Tactical. So this didn't come from Bogiwens because they released it first with the collab and then Tactical afterwards, but about a week afterwards. But both were sold out within a matter of days. And this refreshing double IPA will change your perceptions of what you think fruited IPAs can be. We brewed this one of a kind beer with our good friends at Tactical Brewing. That's not really a style guideline that this beer fits into, so we made our own. We started with the traditional West Coast style grain bill, then added New England hopping technique and water profile. Lastly, we threw in copious amounts of Lotus, Citra, and Amarilla hops and aged it on hibiscus and dragon fruit. You'll have a bright hop aroma that follows through with vanilla, orange, cherry, floral flavors with each sip. This is not the way we intended to release this beer. However, we're just happy to be able to share this with you guys because obviously they release it under the COVID-19 pandemic. But gents, this beer is damn good.
I like that we're all doing the same beers again because now our beer pictures are gonna be good because Ron's taking pictures of what we're having.
Yeah,
too.
true.
I'm the photographer of the bunch.
Yeah, it's true. We try.
On camera.
You are on camera. I mean, you're not on the show.
And in the podcast.
Yes, you're in the podcast now.
That was amazing. That was so good. I know she can't hear me, but that was awesome. Am I on camera? Yes. And now you're on the show. If only we were recording the video too.
Right,
Yeah, right?
exactly.
This our makeshift recording studios that we are dealing with all over the place.
Right.
All right, man. I'm excited to try this.
Let's crack it.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Oh
it's
my
a full
It
can.
smells so good. Oh yeah,
That's a very
full
full can. Yeah. Glad I had a towel handy.
Whoa, that's an interesting color.
Yeah, it's wicked.
What was it? Dragon fruit again?
Hibiscus and dragon fruit.
Well, it's definitely got the hibiscus coloring.
Yeah, it does, man. I mean, like thick.
This better not be a sour IPA.
No, it's not. I just told you what it is.
That would have been amazing.
It's a what the hell did I say it was? It's a South Coast IPA, which is kind of a they started off with a West Coast style, but then obviously added a couple of different hopping techniques, which then kind of made it their own, and they deemed it a South Coast IPA.
It smells pretty amazing.
The third Wheel Hopgoblin, which
That's
is a
awesome.
fun name as well.
It's
Yeah,
got a
right?
great name. I mean, look at that. Look at that head retention.
Yeah.
Jeez,
grief.
that's like Ron head retention there.
The color is ridiculous.
I mean, it is a.
It's
It's not.
It looks like a grapefruit sour.
Yeah,
Like
there you go. Yeah.
It's like a dark grapefruit sour.
Like if you ever get a grapefruit that's like this is authentic, like fresh squeezed, like full of pulp grapefruit. That's like the color, like that ruby red. It's a real pretty color. Ron is right though. It does kind of have the look of a like you would see sours at the holidays or whatever, you know. But it certainly doesn't smell that way.
Shall we give it a go, gents?
Man, yeah, that's all hopping.
I cannot wait to have this
Fruit.
again.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Cilantro, boys.
Cheers.
Ooh,
Wow.
Holy crap.
Wow. What a weird, fun flavor profile that becomes.
It is so sweet down the middle of the tongue to start off with.
it is heaven on your mouth.
And it's I guess it's that hibiscus you're getting a little out there. It's not what I expected up front. And then the hops kind of definitely hit you as
Yeah.
a second wave.
Wow, that's good. That's a
It's
tasty beer.
not at all what you expect. It's not what I expected when I first got it, but it's so smooth. And correct me if I'm wrong, you don't taste any bit of the 8.3%.
Oh, I was just about to say that. The fact that this thing is like almost at basically a double IPA ABV.
Yeah.
I'm not tasting that. And the bitter of the hop really is like after you finish drinking. It is not something that hits you in front.
It comes on later, but it's not like a punch in the mouth. It's just kind of eases into it.
Good grief.
What a tasty beer.
It is, like I said, it is probably one of the best that I've had. So much so that I turned a friend of the pod, Phil. I not only turned him into this beer, but he then went and picked up 2 4-packs. He then gave one to his dad. His dad liked it so much that when Phil went to Tactical to get their release of this beer, his dad was kind enough to buy me a 4-pack just to thank me for recommending this beer to him.
Oh, that's awesome! Nice.
So
you gotta love that.
It's kind of it's anybody that has tried this has been like, holy crap! It is so good. And I hope that they continue with this and make more or turn this into one of their house taps at both.
Where'd Ron go?
I'm here.
Look at this. Look at his head retention. As I finish pouring it, it's like over the edge of the glass. I gotta get a shot of that.
That is so good.
That is some. I apologize for it being taken in a dogfish head glass, but it's the only thing I had. I didn't have anything without labels.
That is quite tasty. Good job, Ferris.
Yeah.
And it's around that I definitely before you head back across the globe, one that I wanted you to make sure you tried and had before you went back and left the States.
Well, I appreciate you because that's damn good.
There you go, Ron. Before we kick into the soccer news, you got to make sure your face gets into the video screen so I can take a group photo. There you go.
Yeah, that has to be exactly it.
Right up the nose. just
right up the schnoz.
Just the way all of us, for any of you who have been fortunate enough to be able to work from home, and for those of you who have not, I am so sorry and hope that changes soon that you can get to work. It's been a lot of learning how people don't know how to do meetings on webcams and seeing up nostrils.
I couldn't help but do that. It's this one too, right? Can you they're just talking to you, and it's like
with just the nose. And if you could have seen what Ron did, literally, it's like Jaws, just his nose sticking up over the edge of the camera, which is funny because the other thing people do that's bad is they stare at themselves in the thing. Yeah. So people do two things, one of two things: they either stare at themselves or they don't look at themselves, which is also a problem, and realize that it's just their nose hairs and the other things.
Although I will tell you guys, I'll have to send you this, and I'll send it to you here in a bit whenever I can find the video of it. But on Lad Bible on their Instagram page, they have a video of the best Zoom calls so far. And they're all like pretty, I'm gonna say normal stuff, but like, the cat going across the screen or the kid coming in and doing whatever. There's one that is so brilliant on this though, that I wish I would have thought of this. Essentially, for those of you that are curious as to what it is, go to Lad Bible on Instagram. You'd have to find it, but it's in the middle of this video where there's like 6 or 7 people on this Zoom call. All of a sudden, one guy's screen falls down. But what falls down is a piece of paper that he took a picture of himself in the room that he was in, and it fell down. Meanwhile, he's sitting on like a hammock or something, having a beer, realizes that it fallen down, and like panics, gets up and has to put the picture back up. There's like 1 or 2 people out of this like 7 group that realizes it, and their faces are hysterical. But it is one of the funniest things that I've seen. So I'll have to find that and send that you guys' way.
His picture falls down.
Yeah, but it was like literally a picture of him in that exact room, and him just being still like looking at the camera.
I just
It was
love that
brilliant.
it took literally no time for people to take their computer into bathrooms and everything else and get recorded. Like it's
Yep.
Saturday Night Live actually did a sketch their first weekend. They did the Saturday Night Live
Yep.
at home.
When that woman takes it in, they're like, "Stop! Turn us off."
Yeah, it was But the thing is, it was like, but it's true. It's like it wasn't like it wasn't fictitious. That crap was happening so fast. It's so wild. I mean, like, yeah, kids bursting in on those meetings, whatever. That's so tame. It's the other stuff that was just wild.
I just sent you guys the one that I saw. It is quite hysterical.
Well, Ferris, this beer again. Oh my God, as I keep drinking this thing,
it's great. I wish they made more.
It's red,
Well chosen.
which is appropriate because so is Germany. Sorry,
Get your licks in now.
I wore my Bayern kit the other day. It needed to be washed. I couldn't wear that today.
Rude, as I'm sitting here wearing my lovely Borussia Dortmund kit. One of 3 kits that I own of theirs. But anyways.
So do you want to get to some Premier League news before we go to?
Let's do a little
paint
Premier
the
League
town
first.
red in Germany.
Yeah, we're going to paint the town red with Manchester. Not really, but we'll get over to some Premier League. Is mainly we're Premier League pod, but they are on hiatus. Well, as of our last pod, we were letting everybody know that there was some meetings that were about to occur with the government and officials of the leagues to determine when a possible restart date would come back. Well, the government has given the green light to resume the league starting on June 1st. The same goes for the FA Cup and all other leagues throughout the FA. At this point, though, in time, the clubs of the Premier League must now vote on whether to resume and when they should do so.
I don't think they're going to be the first.
Well, and they have yet to agree upon a restart date.
I think you've got, and they just did another round of testing, and two more players.
Correct.
Oh, sorry, that's your next thing.
Yeah. So at this time, the total number of positive tests from the Premier League clubs is at 8. This follows a statement from the Premier League on Saturday.
When you look at the numbers of players, that's actually, or number of people involved, that's actually pretty good.
Yes. It's not terrible. But England does have the highest death toll in Europe for this, so that should be taken into account as well with the restarting and why it may take a little while. That although government said June 1st, the leagues are taking it slow and going through phases in which you
don't want to injure multi-million-dollar players. You
don't want to have somebody potentially die from the virus if you're not testing the correct way.
Absolutely. I apologize. What I mean, yes, on the virus front, yes, but then on just a pure fitness and yes, they've been working out and stuff at home, what have you, and we'll get to the Bundesliga, talk a little bit about what their start back has been like, but because it's also, this is a weird time. You've got players who are like, hey, technically I was going to be up and sold to someone else or going somewhere else or whatever, so they don't want to get injured either because the next season isn't that far away. Not that they ever want to get injured, but there's just a lot of factors going into kicking this thing back off in June when it should have been done for a month.
Right. Well, at this time, the total number of positive tests is at 8. The statement on Saturday that the Premier League came out with is the Premier League can today confirm that on Tuesday, the 19th of May, and Thursday, the 21st of May, and Friday, the 22nd of May, 996 players and club staff were tested for COVID-19. Of these, 2 were tested positive from those 2 clubs. That's Blake. That's what you were saying. They did not release what clubs they were from or the names of the players.
Bournemouth did say that it was.
They had some, players. But I think they've had 2 or 3 now.
No, but they announced that for this of the 2 that they definitely had one.
They had one of them
of these 2. They didn't say who, obviously, because of confidentiality. But
right. Player and club staff who tested positive will now self-isolate for a period of 7 days. Currently, the protocol is no player can train without being tested, and testing will be conducted twice a week at the club. So that's kind of their phase 1 for the Premier League, is that you cannot train at any level on club grounds unless you've been tested, and tested twice a week. So that's good. Another round of testing was scheduled to take place, though, as of this Monday and today. All 20 clubs of the Premier League will be holding a meeting tomorrow. So what's that? Wednesday the 27th?
Yeah.
Yeah. To decide whether they can move to phase 2 of the restart and allow full contact training.
That's wild, man.
Yeah, slow process trying to build back up.
Exactly. It's just, yeah, and I think it's partly because of what we were saying earlier, that the death toll in Great Britain is the highest in Europe. So you can definitely understand why the league is taking the cautious route and the slow route with going through phase and making sure that everybody is thoroughly tested before they resume play.
And this will be like, obviously, this is sans any fans as well. Like, this is just empty stadiums. At one point, they talked to only playing at a couple of stadiums, but well, maybe that's still what they've got to decide. Because actually, the government's just saying you can play. And I know some of the things that the Premier League had been discussing was, even though it would suck, would be doing potentially a few stadiums only. And then you've just got people staying in one place to wrap this up, playing, at just 3 or 4 stadiums, so, it, unfortunately, I mean, it doesn't matter much in the local situation because it's not like you're bringing in supporters to come watch or anything like that. I imagine part of those things are going to have to be hammered out too, because the more you start spreading across the country, I would think the worse it gets. And if you can pick a few places that you could, but who knows what that means, man? Does that mean days that are more like NFL in the sense that you've got a ton of different start times and like that's a
Well, the MLS and the NWSL seem to be adopting similar things because the NWSL is talking about flying all the teams to Vegas and holding all of the matches in stadiums around Vegas. And then the MLS is talking about doing the same thing, but doing it here in Orlando.
Correct. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, wouldn't that suck? Hey, we got all the teams here. We can't see them. But
can't watch them.
They're here. Hey, maybe I can finally watch them on my friggin' TV. Get on the ball spectrum where I'm at. Makes me crazy.
I'm on that YouTube TV. That's what I got, man.
Well, I got Hulu TV, but it does the same thing to me because it's based on your location. So since I'm just in the west, I'm just far enough over, even though Orlando isn't that far from me at all. It puts me into a TV market where it's all Tampa stuff. So I don't ever get the Orlando games. It's very frustrating.
Well, that and it's very similar. They've adopted to go off on the MLS for a second. The MLS has kind of adopted the same, a similar version of what the NFL has done, where if the game isn't well attended, they don't show it unless it's Univision, and not all the cable providers carry Univision.
So here's your chance. They won't take it because they're MLS. I love the sport, but the league makes me bananas. This is the opportunity to be whip ass with your digital content for these games, partner with the people that are carrying the games and do something and try to get in front of many people as you can while they're waiting for other sports to happen. Do I think MLS will do that? No, I do not. Because probably they just don't have the clout with anybody they've done TV partnerships with at all. And
no, they don't.
It's frustrating.
And they didn't make smart TV deals, in my opinion, in the first place. So
no, they didn't. So it's a shame. NWSL actually has a better opportunity probably to leverage some digital content during this because they've got a little more freedom in that respect. On that note, we'll talk about Bundesliga and just talk about Bundesliga. But as far as networks go, Fox sucks. I mean, here's the first big sporting events that you can watch, and yes, it's not a league that's super popular in the States, but here's an opportunity to get some eyeballs on your channel, get some get some coverage. They had to be bullied online to move the Bayern and Dortmund match from FS2 to FS1. And
did they now?
Yes,
Yeah.
and they only did the international commentary. They didn't have anybody in studio. There was no talking during halftime. And
Right,
stuff. Dude. It was now. Granted, Bundesliga is going to ESPN Plus next year,
correct.
and so ESPN Plus is like, this is great. If a few people extra will watch now, maybe we can get them moving forward. And so you could say, well, that's probably why Fox didn't want to do anything. You're like, yeah, but this is also why Bundesliga didn't want to stay with Fox. I didn't realize that it wasn't a matter of just ESPN or Disney outbidding for Bundesliga. They were so unhappy with Fox's coverage of the Bundesliga because they could just turn on the channel, look at NBC's Premier League coverage.
Right.
And they're like, come on, man. We've really good soccer that's being played right now. We don't,
and we're the only one in the world right now.
Yeah.
So you figure you would put your best foot forward on it to have something done.
It was just terrible, man. It's just terrible. So that's frustrating, and hopefully ESPN Plus will be way better with it.
Up until this point, I didn't think Fox's coverage was that bad. Their studio coverage when they were in were good. They didn't really come out with any of the original content stuff like NBC has done, but they were showing the Bundesliga magazines and all of that was just being imported from the league itself.
But I think that's the mistake, because that's the important thing, is like to bridge the gap of, hey, American who does not live in England, let me, just like what happens, and this is probably why NBC is so good at it. This is what happens during the Olympics. You figure out what stories sound interesting, and all of a sudden the world is following some, guy in Cameroon that you never heard about who had something crazy thing he had overcome to be a track and field guy. And all of a sudden everybody knows his name during the Olympics. Right. And they give you the storylines to give you that emotional attachment. So you're watching for not just your own country, but individual people that you're learning things about. Well, that's what Premier League or NBC does with Premier League. They have really connected with, here's all the teams. Do we have like, is this Sunday and game's over? Hey, well, after that last game, here's some information about Watford. Here's what know about the history of Watford. Like all that stuff that would just get people connected and into the teams they're watching. Fox has never done anything like that for Bundesliga.
No.
Yeah, I think more importantly, what NBC has done is they have created the Premier League brand in the U.S., right? So the more you know about the different teams and the histories and the players and what they've overcome and all that kind of stuff, the more interested or the more invested you are. Fox, more or less, seemingly doesn't give a rat's ass that they're carrying the Bundesliga, because all they do is turn the feed on and off.
Yeah. And it's just a shame, because this was an opportunity. Not that they knew this was coming, but it was already too late. I mean, ESPN Plus already has the rights for next year. But still, if you're Fox, you'd think do something just to get people watching your thing to get excited about sports again. I don't know. It's an odd situation.
Or what you're doing now is directly other soccer leagues that look at Fox to take over, be it the Premier League or one of the Ligas or any of the other Champions Leagues, whatever. They're going to look at your most recent soccer coverage, and they're going to say, well, this all sucks.
Well,
why should we go to Fox?
No, that's my thought exactly. Was imagine, Premier League contracts up. Premier League's like, hey, I want to shop around. NBC's like, really? you sure? Because
who's better?
I mean, it's because yes, it's about the money you get from the networks or the coverage, but it's also the value you get for all the jersey sales that are happening because of this and whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's more to it than just the TV rights, and it's kind of a shame to watch Fox.
Yeah, and it's a shame because Fox has a lot of stuff on cable or YouTube or whatnot, FS1, FS2, the local Fox Sports channels, to where they could have made it a real, I don't want to say empire, but they could have really held on to the league for a long time had they even adopted a fifth of what the NBC group has done with the Premier League.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Opportunity lost. We'll see if ESPN Plus makes the most of it. I don't have that, but I guess I'll They're gonna have they get Bundesliga and Champions League next year. Is that right? Or is Champions League
ESPN? I don't know. ESPN. The Champions League, from what I remember, is on Bleacher Report.
No. Isn't that the last year though?
They've only done 1 year. Have they done 2 years?
It might. Well, it was on TNT.
They might have done
before,
2
and that
years.
was the same company. So you got to look that up, man. Ferris. I think you accidentally called in. Oh, there you go.
Sorry, my phone was dying, so I had to go the iPad route.
Oh, no, you're fine. I still got you. Hey, technology working in our favor. You seamlessly slid right in. Ooh,
Tried to make the quick switch.
Yeah.
That sounded gross.
Sorry.
Does anybody got eyes on that? I was going to look that up. The Champions League. I feel like
I don't have anything
Looking it up right
now.
TV for the 2020, I guess it would be. I mean, I don't know what, how that works. 2020 and 2021 season? No, it'd just be.
It'd be the 2021 season.
Turner Sports.
It's
so
it's still
Bleacher.
with Bleacher. I thought they signed a 2 or 3 year deal, so they're either on their second or third year of it.
Oh no, here you go. Nope. Here you go. Turner Sports acquired it to
TV
both
and streaming rights.
UEFA Champions League and Europa League matches that begin in the 2018-2019 season and will end after this 2020-21 season. CBS Sports will broadcast the Champions League from 2021 through 2023-24.
Oh, okay. So yeah, this is their last. This next season is their last season.
This Champions League run, the next. So
Right.
that'll be it for them. And then it goes to CBS. And I knew it switched to somebody. And then soccer for CBS. That's kind of uncharted territory.
That'll be interesting.
Uncharted territory for them.
So hey, here's hoping they treat it like an entrepreneur and it's like a new business and they just go for it, man.
Yeah, we'll see with the whole, because didn't CBS just come out with their own TV stream type
Yeah,
thing?
they got CBS All Access. I don't want to sign up for something else to watch soccer too.
I know
Dang
that's starting to kill me.
I mean, yeah, like
Each league has their own
their own paid prescription type
and I guess like
type thing.
I watch so little other TV that if I added it up, the streaming, maybe I could just stream. Except the problem is the NBC. You need NBC Sports though to catch all Premier League. If you stream that, you're only going to get a few of the games through Gold and what have you. So
Right.
Yeah.
yeah, it's frustrating. It's changing though, and the future is going to be different with that. We'll all see that soon.
So speaking of weird TTV leagues, can anybody guess what channel La Liga's on?
It's on PBS, brought to you for the Carnegie Mellon Corporation and viewers like you.
The grant for
Yes.
Which league are you talking about?
La Liga. They are on beIN Sports.
Oh, forgot about those guys.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
they used
so you
to
can do a whole game
yeah.
on this. But La Liga this past
because that's who commentates with the whole. He's got the foot of a god. What's his name? The
Ray Hudson.
yeah. If they're
Yeah.
centipedes
Ray
going to
Hudson.
bed tonight, wishing to God they had
Yeah.
one left foot like that man. Yeah,
That ball had more curves than Jessica Rabbit.
he's out of his Vulcan mind. Dr. Spock is on the field.
He is a classic.
He's so fun.
He's
Rocky
great.
Ray Hudson. But on this past Saturday, Spain's government gave the go-ahead for La Liga to resume starting on June 8th. I haven't really looked too much to see if they are, in fact, starting on that date or if the clubs and the Spanish Football Federation have to come to some sort of agreement like the Premier League is doing. But a green light by the government is kind of that first big step to continue to play football in the country of Spain.
Finally.
Slowly but surely.
Slowly but surely.
Hopefully everything just opens up nice and slow and good.
Yep. But you know what is playing right now, gents?
What's playing?
The aforementioned Bundesliga is back. 2 weeks ago, this past Saturday, they resumed play and started with match week 26.
26.
Yeah,
was
match week 26.
It was a weird one.
It's a weird vibe. Very weird vibe, yeah.
It was quiet. Everybody was
Kung Fu fighting.
Yeah. What was interesting was the fitness was actually really good. The players were running about the length and speeds they had been running prior to the stop. What was just slightly off was that sort of I play with you so much, I know what you're thinking before.
The final touch and the fluidity of playing with the team. Yes.
Yeah. But the actual fitness was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you would expect nothing less because these guys are all on these high regimented fitness plans, and they're talking to the fitness coach of each club, and they're on, here's what you can eat, and here's what you should be doing, and you're on a very timed thing. So the fitness, I don't think, was ever really in doubt. Now, there is a difference between the endurance and fitness you get at home or from doing the treadmill, and then game day match fitness. You know,
your kit,
there is that difference.
Yeah,
correct.
In the boots, there's a bit of difference there. But I just was impressed. Like they were ready to roll.
Yeah, but it was absolutely a weird vibe. The first match out of the gates was Borussia Dortmund and Schalke 04.
Well, they didn't look weird.
They
looked fine. Dortmund looked fine.
Yes, they did. They looked really fine.
Did they take a day off?
I don't know if they did. But it was weird because it was played at Dortmund, and usually that stadium is rocking. You have the wall of just yellow there behind them. And in a derby game like this, the revered derby is one of the fiercest in the world. This stadium would have been rocking. And for this game, there was no pumped-in crowd noise, so you could hear every kick of the ball, the whistle,
all the comments too, like
all the comments. Yeah, exactly.
You hear the players talking and coaches yelling, and
yeah, it's just kind of a weird vibe. But it was good to see them back on the pitch, and Dortmund did not miss a beat, and they hammered Schalke 4-0.
Did a cool clap to the empty stand of the wall at the end of the game.
At the very end, because that's, like I said, that if you go back and you watch any old Dortmund games when they're playing at home, you watch that fan base, and the wall there was what our owners here at Orlando City based our wall off of. Yeah. So that kind of tells you that they really have a strong fan base, and they built that stadium right to really just have an atmosphere in that stadium, which is just insane. But you had goals from Holland, 2 from Guerrero, and 1 from the Thorgan Hazard, the other Hazard, not Eden. But somebody that's not on the score sheet, Julian Brandt had himself a fantastic game, a couple of assists. He was pinging balls about. And Dortmund looked like they didn't miss a beat. Sancho, who has been really rumored in the last half of the year as being on a move either to Real Madrid or Man United or any of those big clubs, Chelsea, Liverpool. He did not start this game, came in the second half, really didn't have too much of an impact. But nonetheless, Dortmund win the derby 4-0.
Yeah, they win it well.
A good game to watch.
It was. It was fun to see.
It was fun.
It's fun to see football back, and it's kind of fun for a high scoring game. Although it was weird to keep hearing the name Hazard getting said that way.
Yeah,
right.
I kept like, what?
Yeah, good old Thorgan.
But yeah, and that's kind of that was kind of it for the rest of the games too. In a way, it just was weird. I mean, it was cool to have it back. Have any live sport back, as many people online were saying. It just was weird because on one hand it was nice to have live sports so you could forget about things, but you couldn't forget about things because it was so weird and quiet, and the stadium's so empty. So it was nice.
Everybody was wearing masks, and even the benches were 6 feet apart from one player on the same team to the other player on the same team on the bench.
Walking
and
out of the tunnel together, they had to be separate and all that stuff. Yeah,
no handshakes before. It's definitely a weird vibe, but it was good to have the sport back, and it was good to see some live football.
It's now going to be the weird new norm is going to be, no more will anyone get upset that Jose Mourinho and Van Gaal didn't shake hands, right? Because now it's not socially acceptable to do that. So,
oh, buddy, you just wait. Jose Mourinho is going to go up to shake someone's hand.
yeah.
Oh,
It's
yes.
going to be like he whatever it shouldn't happen. He's going to go do it.
He would be the first.
Right? Yeah. He's going to spit in his hand first.
Do you guys remember that like video right before all this ended, the last game of Premier League, and that guy tried to reach down and give a high five to Klopp, and he's like, are you effing crazy? Get back. It was like right the last matches before it closed down. Yeah. And you're just like, it was the nicest like F off I've ever seen, but it was clearly what he said. Yeah. I love it.
These are weird times that we are in for sure. Some of the other matches that took place on the first weekend of the Bundesliga, Wolfsburg beat Augsburg 2-1. Fortuna Dusseldorf and Paderborn drew 0-0. RB Leipzig, a surprising draw at home to SC Freiburg. While Freiburg is in 7th, RB Leipzig is up there in 3rd, and we're really neck and neck to hopefully win the league with Dortmund and Munich. But this draw did not help them at all, and they've kind of slipped down the table just slightly. They're still in 3rd, but this draw did not help them. And with a Freiburg team that they should have beat and had to kind of score a little bit later in the game to get that, but
they
well done by Freiburg.
They trailed Freiburg for, I don't know, a good 35 or 40 minutes out of this match. And to be honest, Freiburg looked a better team for quite a large portion of this match.
They did. Hertha Berlin beat Hoffenheim 3-0. Hertha has just kind of been there this year. They're in 11th-ish in the table, as well as Hoffenheim. They're around there. So at home, Hoffenheim should have done a lot better than that.
Yeah, only 2 points separates them, 34 to 36. Hoffenheim has got 36 in 9th place. That'll be fun to watch, that middle of the pack right there in the table, because they're so close to each other in points.
Yeah. The other thing is Borussia Mönchengladbach, one of my favorite names in football to say.
I love to hear you say it.
Put 3 past Eintracht Frankfurt, goals from Plee, Thuman, and Benesabani. I don't have no clue if I said that right, but we're going to go with it, and it sounded okay.
Close enough.
Yeah, exactly. So Borussia Mönchengladbach maintained their 4th position, and then moving over to the Sunday games, FC Cologne and Mainz drew 2-2. Bayern Munich beat FC Union Berlin 2-0. And the Monday game, Bayern Leverkusen beat Werder Bremen 4-1 with 2 goals from Havertz, Kai Havertz, who is one of the Bundesliga's best number 10s in the league. I wouldn't be surprised if he's on the move somewhere to Munich or to Dortmund or to a bigger club, because he's just tearing it up right now. He had himself a brace, and Bayern Leverkusen stay in 5th on the heels of Borussia Mönchengladbach.
It's currently who I play for is Leverkusen right now.
Do you?
On FIFA? Yeah.
Lovely. Solid squad. Well, that kind of ties up match week 26 in the Bundesliga.
It was like I said, it was cool to see it come back. I thought people talked a bunch about it, and then it kind of it felt like it went away. We keep talking about Premier League weekends. We're talking about it all week long. You know what I mean? And again, this might just be Fox coverage, to be honest.
True.
On Twitter we follow NBC Soccer and their sports and everything else, and they continue to talk about Premier League or MLS matches are being talked about, what have you. So it was weird because it did feel so quiet. It's like we were back, but not really. But the second week of games, I kind of thought you were already starting to see like the play between players improve a lot moving into the second week.
What the thing from the first week that I could take away was the games almost seemed like they didn't count.
It felt a little preseason-y. Yeah.
It had a very preseason-y feel. But then again, I was very excited with the result of Dortmund and how they played. But yeah, you're right. It didn't really linger for too long. And I think it's because it's not the Premier League, where the Premier League here in the States is going to get a little bit more eyes and ears on the game. The Bundesliga, people probably just turns it on, even just to have in the background, to have some sort of live sports. But my guess is a lot of people that maybe might not be soccer fans or might not be Bundesliga fans turned it off because they were probably weirded out by no crowd being there and by hearing every kick of the ball and every sound on the field. So I don't know if they've come out with TV numbers on that first weekend or not, but it'd be interesting to see those.
World Soccer Talk, who does such a great job of covering the coverage of world football in America, he put something up about it, and the numbers did go up a little bit, but they still weren't great. And mostly his article was kind of talking about how bad Fox was doing. And he blamed a lot of the fact that he's like, it's bonkers they had a small percentage increase, and it should have been very big, but they didn't play it up at all. Like, we knew about it, but it was not being played up at all. I mean, if anything, the people who work for NBC Soccer were talking more about it than Fox was. The Men in Blazers were all over it,
Yeah. Just excited to have something back.
Yeah.
And if you are, and I would imagine a majority of people that listen to us three goons talk about soccer are football fans and fanatics of the sport. So if you are a fan of the sport, you wanted to watch this. You tuned in. You found out where the games will be being played. You followed social media. Did everything you could. For those that are maybe casual fans of the game, tuned into it. For those that are just sports fans, we're probably on the fence with it. Well, do I watch this or do I do a DIY project at my house during this time?
Well, and do you leave it on in the background? And I think, weirdly enough, as we get into match week 28, I think they would have kept it on in the background with the fake crowd noise.
Which... Was that introduced in match week 27, what you're talking about?
I don't
this
think
match
so.
Week?
I think it was this match week because people were talking about it. And here's the thing, and I've already seen people say something like this on Twitter, and I totally agree. At first, we all heard fake crowd noise, right? So you thought, is it going to be a loop of crowd noise? Did you guys watch it? It's like playing the video game FIFA. It reacted to what was happening.
Yeah.
They put in chants and things that would have occurred, or a miss, a near miss, what it sounded like from the Dortmund, fans and everything. It was awesome, and I cannot wait to see the behind the scenes on this. And I want to know, was it some awesome audio engineer who, group or whatever that came in with the Bundesliga, said we're going to do this? And if it is, this group's about to be hired by the Premier League instantly, because the Premier League doesn't open with fake noise. I think anybody, La Liga, watching this, if you care about your TV, just the fake noise. And I love that people were like, you know what? We would have made fun of this if you just told us this without what's going on in the world. But after experiencing it, nope, I like it. Like, it feels more right,
It certainly did. And seeing the game today.
Do you imagine it's a guy like a DJ back there?
And that was a thought that came out. And then what was weird is you knew it was really good when, for the Dortmund and Munich game, when Munich got the ball, there'd be this whistle to get rid of the ball or whatnot. One of the things I'm wondering is, did they just pull the crowd noise from the FIFA game?
No. They would have had to pay. No, I think that it had to pay EA for that, right? And all the work they did. I think what you've got is you don't need it. You've got years of your audio in your own stadium that you've gotten from crowd noise, and I think you hire an audio engineering firm team. It's got to be a team for that.
Just to
quick.
bleed out the game stuff.
And they take the audio of the fans. Well, there's a lot of stuff they put up, though, that gets the audio of just the fans. You don't have to worry about the game, right? Like, they've got stuff, to pick up.
Yeah.
So you just get enough of that you go, here it all is, man. And they just sit there and audio engineer.
Just patch it all together,
dude. And that's crazy, but I think that's what they did.
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. There was a lot of comments on Twitter about it, including someone wrote, RB Leipzig putting the Atlanta Falcons tactics to good use and pumping in the crowd noise. Funny thing is, I don't really hate it.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't too deterred from it or like, ooh, that's weird. I was like,
it felt right.
Wait, it seemed natural. Yeah.
It felt like making the best of a crappy situation, to be honest.
Yeah, even Alexi Lawless had positive things to say about it. That, on TV, there's comfort and familiarity in having the soundtrack.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it.
That's, yeah.
And it still, while the players can't hear it on the field, and therefore, this is kind of the death of home field advantage, it enhances the broadcast, even though it's manufactured crowd noise.
Oh, so the players couldn't hear it on the field?
No, but it's only in the TV mix.
Because you wouldn't be, because then
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Then you would hear it in
you would hear
echo or something like that. Yeah, okay.
It would be weird. I
don't think I realized that at the time. In fact, I didn't until right now. But that makes sense. That's interesting.
But what's wild is the kind of reactions that they would slide into it fit with the celebration a player might be having. Like, that's what was so weird. Again, when this is settled, I want the behind the football episode of how this occurred. Screw VAR. This is the coolest technology.
Do you think that was Fox, or do you think that was third-partied out?
Remember, Fox didn't do anything. They only took the international feed.
Oh.
So, yeah, that was all the Bundesliga / Dortmund. That's why, that was one of the complaints about Fox. They didn't even have, not only did they not have halftime commentary or whatever, they didn't have their own commentators watching the game. They just did the international English feed.
Yeah, it's interesting too. A lot of the broadcast partners and other officials said that the pumped in noise is going to feel really artificial and silly, and it's not going to be that good. But it really did do well.
I think they were right.
No, they were referring to in stadium.
No, they were talking about,
no, they're talking about on TV.
Just the broadcast.
Yeah. Right, because they were worried, seemingly, they were worried about coming across as trying to fool the TV audience into thinking people were really there, as opposed to just trying to enhance the viewing.
And I'm gonna guarantee you, they did test groups just like they do for movies and everything else, and people were like, "Yeah, it's cool to watch the game, but this is weird." And then you put the sound in. It's just like Leslie Lawless said. It's, that it's fake, but it's cool because you know why, and it's comforting. Like it sounds right now. Now I can get lost in it a little bit more. And what was crazy, I'm like watching it, and when the play occurred right before that awesome Bayern goal, leading up to it, it had that feeling in the crowd of like, oh God, it's it's coming, like. And then they scored, and the crowd, there were the crowd noises, and I was like, oh wait a minute, crap, there's no one there,
right?
But it sounded so right. It sounded so right because I was at Dortmund, right? Yeah,
correct.
It sounded so right for a Bayern goal at Dortmund. Like they even had the negative reaction of the crowd. It was so wild. Whoever isn't, I just want to know who the company in charge of or person doing it, because I think Bundesliga had the smarts to be like, if we're going to do this, it must be done right.
Right.
And it was done very well.
So they took a poll on Twitter, and out of 1,500 people who responded, 37% enjoyed it, 33% hated it, and 30% still can't decide.
I get that. A 30% is like, I need another week. The 33% that hated it, by the way, that's just football. Any question you would have asked, 33% would have hated whatever the thing was.
Right.
Get rid of VAR, keep VAR. I hate it either. Whatever. Like they're just like 33%. That sounds like soccer to me.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, no, I get that sentiment. Like I do feel like you've got to. But to me, it's no different. You already said FIFA, Ferris. It's to me, it's like playing FIFA. I know it's a fake video game, but there's something about that crowd noise that like helps make you feel like you're playing a soccer game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I bet it is a similar technology, except that it's not you're not. I guess you program the computer AI to like track
to react to the things you're doing with the controller.
Like
yeah.
I want to see Daft Punk back there, like moving knobs and like to get it. Oh, like he almost got it.
Dead Mouse is in the mixing.
That's just so wild to me. I mean, it really was. I couldn't get over the fact that I kept forgetting it was fake. Like I'd be watching it, and then there would be a shot of something that would cover part of the stadium. And you're like, oh, right.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt right. It was really well done. Good job.
Good job.
I'm sure this won't be the last sport to use it.
Nope.
Oh, no.
Nope. They set the bar, I think. Yeah.
To run through match week 27, which was played this past weekend, Hertha Berlin hammered FC Union Berlin 4-0. Just an absolute drubbing.
Yeah.
Borussia Mönchengladbach falls to Bayern Leverkusen, which really, as Leverkusen's trying to vie for that fourth place spot, that was a big, big win. And again, Havertz, another brace in this game, a goal in the 7th and the 58th minute pen. He is one of the players of the season for this league. He was a player of the season before the league shut down, and he's continuing after the fact to continue to score goals and just be an impact for this Bayern Leverkusen team. Freiburg falls to Werder Bremen 1-0. A late red card there for Brennan, which was a little bit nervy for him, but they were able to still pull out the win. SC Paderborn 07 drew with Hoffenheim 1-1. Borussia Dortmund continues their winning ways as they beat Wolfsburg 2-0. Guerrero gets his third in 2 games, and then Hakimi, who provided some assists in match week 26, gets himself on the score sheet as well with a lovely striker winger-esque finish in the back of the net. Bayern Munich hammer Eintracht Frankfurt 5-2.
It's just ridiculous.
It's which they should for this team. They were helped out there on the 5th goal by I don't even know if I can say that name.
Minterger.
Mintiger?
Own goal.
It's own goal, but it's he actually got himself a hat trick because he scored 2 for his team and 1 for their team. So, but Lewandowski gets on the score sheet again. Thomas Mueller and Leon Goretzka. Lewandowski is probably, for those of you at home that don't know, is probably the most informed striker in the world at the moment. And not just because it's the only team playing. He was going into all of this COVID stuff. He is such a prolific striker that he is one of the easy top 3, 4. And if you're saying, well, how about Ronaldo? How about Messi? Well, they don't play the position necessarily of striker. He does.
Yeah.
And he puts the ball in the back of the net.
He's amazing.
And he is amazing. He has a fantastic finish anywhere in the box. So nonetheless, they hammered Frankfurt. David Wagner, the old Huddersfield manager, has not been on a good run since they've been back to playing. They were beat by Dortmund 4-0 in the first game. They were beat 3-0 by Augsburg in match week 27. Not too good coming out of this hiatus that they've had. RB Leipzig returned to winning ways as Timo Werner gets himself a hat trick against Mainz with another Paulsen goal and a Sabitzer goal as well. So RB Leipzig remain in that third spot with a big win, as they had to get one after that draw to even keep on the coattails of Dortmund and Bayern Munich. And then lastly, FC Cologne drew with Fortuna Dusseldorf 2-2 in a bit of a wild game, as there were two really late goals there by FC Cologne, one by Modeste in the 88th, and then one by Cordoba in the 90th +1. So
that's a fun
Cologne,
match.
Yeah, very fun match. They pull out a big win as they keep Dusseldorf in the bottom tier of the table and two spots off of last place. So
really,
that was match week 27.
It was an exciting 5 minutes.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Because after they scored in the 90+1, you thought they could probably get another one before the final whistle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. True.
They looked the better team for those 5 minutes.
Right.
And then that moves us to the match week 28 of the fake audience.
Which is what we're currently on, yeah.
Yeah, and we just had that on Tuesday. Today, as we're recording this on the 26th of May. And this is because of the squished schedule.
Right.
Partly, but they would have also had some midweek games due to their cup competition. So it's partly because of that, and partly because of them trying to squish it and get it done before.
Yeah, I don't think all the teams would have, as many teams would have played. I think more teams would have played. Yeah,
and I think there's some more games tomorrow, as these are like your midweek-ish games. But yeah, so we start off with a few before that, and I don't know. It looks like stand by. The match week 28 consists of stand by. Sorry,
are you
going
down the score?
Yeah. No, I there was a little bit of a score mix up with week 28 and week 27.
Ye old bad copy and paste.
Not necessarily. I was having all sorts of internet issues and stuff. But this does look like it could be a copy and paste error as well. Wolfsburg hammer Bayern Leverkusen 4-1, which is not a good result, as Leverkusen just came off of a big win the previous week, as we were just talking about with Borussia Mönchengladbach. So
God,
not a good drop.
Every time you say it, it just makes me happy.
Borussia Mönchengladbach, love it.
Christian P, baby.
Christian P, exactly. But a very good win there by Wolfsburg. A 3-3 wild draw between Eintracht Frankfurt and Freiburg. A bit of a fun match. Just caught the highlights there, but a bit of back and forth, starting really ever since the 28th minute, and then going all the way until the 80th or so. Borussia Mönchengladbach do help out Leverkusen a bit as they draw 0-0 with Werder Bremen. And then the big match, as we were kind of talking about today, Borussia Dortmund fall to Bayern Munich 1-0 off of a lovely chip by Joshua Kimmich.
That chip was pretty, man.
That was just gorgeous.
Yeah, I was working from home, and it was in meeting, so I didn't have the game on. And the meeting ended, and I cut the game onto my phone, went out to go make a sandwich, and like 5 minutes before that goal, so I got to watch it. I was like, yes, like, and just as a proud parent moment, because I came out of my office, my little 2-year-old, she was like, "Daddy," and so ran over to me while I was making a sandwich. So I'm like making the sandwich, got the phone up, and she's like down on the floor next to me, and I was like, oh, because it was one of those goals, because the way it kind of lobbed up, you know.
Yeah.
Like, oh, no, it's in. I was like, oh my God, that's such a pretty goal. And so she's like lifting her hand up. So it's like, do you want to see it? And the replays happen. I was like, see, he kicks the ball there. He passes it there. Oh, and then this guy's going to hit it. Oh, see it go up. And then like it goes in and she goes, oh, Daddy, he did it. I love it. It's so pretty.
There you go.
Yes. And then she started like, yeah, cheering.
It was a really good goal, and good for him to see that Roman Berkey was not only off his line, but for how tight he saw it, because he was off his line or Kimmich was just top of the box where you don't usually expect a chip, because the goalie can usually get back fast, but he caught Berkey on the wrong foot.
It was
literally
he
couldn't
a bullseye.
turn and move as fast. So not only did he catch him there, but then Berkey, I don't know why he tried to do this, where he tried just to pat it over the goal instead of going for a punch. Because when he went to try to pat it over the goal, his hand as he's flying in the air isn't as strong to really get that tap and push over. Just punch the ball away. So it really wasn't the best goalkeeping, but it was a really good goal from Kimmich, who saw him off the line and took a shot at it.
No, it was like a bullseye moment. It was really good. And it was the moment, too, that I was like, wow, it's not taking them long to get back to where they were.
Yeah.
Like that was such a pretty goal. That did not seem like a goal that was the third week of playing after being out of form and having 2 months off.
No.
That's not what that felt like at all. Which made me hope. It made me excited for the Premier League. I was like, "Oh man,
this club has just decided to come back."
Yeah, just come on, man. So close around the corner. Who else is left? Did you get the rest?
Yes, sorry. That was yep.
And then just for
was
tomorrow, it's RB Leipzig versus Hertha Berlin, Augsburg versus Paderborn, Dusseldorf versus Schalke, and Hoffenheim versus Köln. And Union Berlin versus Mainz. That's tomorrow's games.
And currently the table stands at Bayern Munich. After 28 games played by them, they are ahead of the table on 64 points. Borussia Dortmund is in second on 57 points. RB Leipzig on 54 points. So, Blake, off of what you said, they could go even with Dortmund. And actually, if they win tomorrow, they would go ahead on goal difference.
They should. Playing against Hertha, they should win.
You would think so, yes. Borussia Mönchengladbach fourth on 53 points, and Bayern Leverkusen on fifth on 53 points as well. Borussia Mönchengladbach has 2 extra goals.
So this actually points out something very fun. It's a little opposite of the Premier League. If you're just tuning into Bundesliga because it's the only thing playing, they have a very fun race at the top right now. Because, I mean, Bayern is not running away with it, even though they're ahead. They're not at that point yet. So, like...
today was a good win to help them on their way, though, for that.
Oh, Ron, are you muted, buddy? You just pulled a
totally did it.
You just
totally did it.
Yeah.
I went to go get my beer for the second beer.
Blake just caught him.
And the door is squeaky, so I didn't want it to make any noise, and I muted myself and forgot.
Oh, the old
I'm that guy on the
squeaky
WebEx
routine, yeah.
Damn it.
Blake called him.
Yeah, I hate that on WebEx. Oh, man. Okay, so what I was trying to say was that Bayern Munich is only 7 points clear of Borussia Dortmund at the moment, and if RB Leipzig wins their match tomorrow, they're only 7 points clear, so they haven't run away with it. There's as Ferris would say, there's a lot of soccer left to play.
There's a lot of soccer left to play.
Now, once you get past fifth place, it's 11 point gaps, not as much, but yeah, man, that top 5, man, that's fun. The top 5 is like the Premier League 2nd through 6th.
Right
now. Yeah.
This is one of the this is even before the hiatus that all of the football world went into. This is one of the better leagues that I've been kind of following all year, obviously. but one of the closely top 4 or 5 battles in all of Europe and across the world because of this. It's now starting to separate just slightly, but it's still pretty condensed, all things considered, from what we're used to seeing with the Premier League this year, League with PSG. So it's certainly a fun league to watch, and we will hopefully see them finish out the league and be done in June.
Ooh, I don't know why.
Yeah, and for the Bundesliga, only positions 17 and 18, because it's an 18 squad league. Only 17 and 18 are relegated. So right now, SC Paderborn is in last place with 18 points. Werder Bremen is on 22 points. And then in the 16th slot, real close, is Fortuna Dusseldorf on 24 points. So those bottom 3 are all, pretty tight.
Pretty tight, yep.
And the other name that's fun to say, Dusseldorf. Just makes me happy.
Of course it does.
Dusseldorf. That's a fun one. So then does that wrap us up for our soccer news photo week?
I believe it does.
All right, then what this is going to do, then this is what we've been doing the last few weeks. We've kind of split it up with a lot more beer news around the world, especially with, and there was a ton because of everything going on with the pandemic, which basically is the segue to Ron taking us off with the beer news and our other beer, because I'm about dry.
Alrighty. So the other beer that we actually kind of talked about this beer in 2 episodes ago?
Yes,
Beautiful Game 136.
And I brought
2
it up.
episodes and last episode too.
Yeah, I brought it up because the Suncreek Brewing here in Clermont had just said that theirs was about to come out. I think I brought it up in the last episode because of that.
So the second beer of the pod is Altogether Beer from Other Half Brewing Company.
Other Half
Brewing Company out of Brooklyn, New York. They essentially made a recipe for the whole world and said, here you go, it's free. You can make it as a New England IPA or a West Coast IPA. The only thing we ask is that some of the proceeds go to your local community and helping your first responders. And so we had 3 breweries in Orlando that brewed them, and they sold out super quick. Blake was able to get his hands on some that Suncreek Brewing brewed, and it's called Altogether. It's an IPA, either New England style or the West Coast style. Like I said, it's a 6.3 ABV, and we got our hands on some.
Have we done anything from Suncreek yet on the show?
No, not yet.
So this is a very local brewery. Yeah, Suncreek Brewery in downtown Clermont. When we start traveling and tourism kicks back up, if you're coming down here, I know we talk about so many good local places to hit up. They are another really good one. They're where they're located in. There's a couple little restaurants that are kind of in it as well, but the brewery is is the main thing. And they were really cool. I think I brought this up a few episodes ago that the reason I went there and found out they were making this was because they were making the free hand sanitizer for everybody in town.
Yeah.
They were brewing there. Yeah. Suncreek's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So when we talked about this beer originally, at that time, there were 448 breweries in 40 of those were in the U.S. and 29 and breweries in 29 other countries. Now, a couple of weeks later, there are 809 breweries taking place.
I thought it was still 400.
Awesome.
That's awesome, man.
809 breweries from all 50 states, which 219 of the 808 are in the U.S.
Wow.
So we have just about a quarter or just over a quarter of the breweries across the world are doing it, and breweries from 52 countries. So this really took off. And the cool thing is it's different for everybody. It's not the exact same beer.
It is a West Coast or to New England, and then it's going to be the local and or kind of ingredients that these places tend to do.
Right.
So,
the water taste, the different hop bills or grain bills that they got because maybe they couldn't have exactly the same. So that's pretty great. So all three of us have one, and we're all going to crack it together.
By the way, I just would like to throw something out that's kind of cool because sometimes people are getting a little weird in this time, so it's nice to hear. Oh, and Ferris is gone. Like Louis Van Gaal.
No, I'm here.
Like Louis Van Gaal, he has been shot by a sniper and
He just fell over.
And he fell over. When they made the announcement when I saw on Facebook or Twitter, one of the two, that the Altogether beer was now officially out with Suncreek, they said come to get it and talk about how the proceeds, just like the Altogether, like you said, all over, it's supposed to go to your front of house people that aren't able to work during this time.
Yeah.
But they made the comment that while this beer is helping those people, that they thank everybody so much who continue. They said, we miss you in a normal capacity, but we can't thank you enough for those of you who've shown up while we've been doing order to go, and your generous tips have kept our team floating. So apparently people were really awesome to Suncreek, and they were really able to help out like their folks that work there front of house for the brewery.
Yeah, and
that's awesome.
They're a lot of the brewing companies that decided online portals for curbside pickup were the way to go. We're going to talk about this a little later on the pod, but beer sales across the country are skyrocketing because of it.
I don't want it to change, bro.
There we go.
Because it's like, just for those of you listening, if you've got a local brewery in area that's doing pickups like this, check it out, see what they're doing. Because like with Suncreeks, it's literally, I go online, I say I want a crowler. I think they were only doing crowlers at the time, but I said a crowler. I want a 4-pack. I want 2 4-packs, and then I can pick 8 different kinds of beers. But I wanted all of this all together. I click them, add my tip. I have an Apple iPhone, so it said, "Do you want to pay your Apple Pay?" Sure. Double click. It reads my face. Done. And then I get an email that says it's ready in 15 minutes. Swing by.
Simple.
Walk up to the window. Dude's got like the little mark out for the 6-foot space, and is like, name Braswell. Bap, bap, there you go. Have a good day. Later. Because your tip has been paid. You're just picking up your beer. Oh, it's so awesome.
Simple. And so, that's one of the good things that I think has come out of this is, yes, we can't have that human face-to-face or touch or anything like that. But there are certain things that have helped us that have been so simple for everyone that have really been more of a convenience and actually have helped some companies and businesses with, yes, they may not have operated the same way, but they found these new ways to operate that are benefiting their patrons more so.
Yeah, I don't think it'll change some of it. I think some of it will stay. And it was cool the day I picked it up. They had just opened the area up, so they were doing social distancing at the tables and stuff. But people were out there cleaning the tables and stuff in between, and like it was nice. It was a beautiful day. People were sitting outside enjoying some beers. Saw some people that I knew. It felt cool. It was cool to go over that day. Yeah.
Well, should we give this bad boy a try?
All together,
I think we shall.
6.31. I apologize, Ron. Did you actually read what their ingredients were in this?
I didn't read the grain bill or anything.
Let's see. No, I don't think it's on there. My apologies. I was hoping it was. It just talks about the proceeds. It's dry hop with Cascade Citra and Simcoe, but not the grain. There you go. All right, let's try this New England IPA out.
Ooh, nice hazy straw color.
Well, in New England IPAs,
I'm gonna do it out of the can, gents.
They are a popular new thing, new-ish, to the beer, to the craft beer world, and they're considered very juicy. New England IPAs. They're usually very hazy. They got a lot of citrus rolling on.
Yeah.
So it's no wonder they're super popular in Florida. Like the flavor profile fits a hot summer day in Florida.
Yeah.
So well.
Agreed. A lot of head retention on that one.
Ooh, yes, it is, which is nuts.
Ron is back to the head retention winning race.
Because I picked this up Saturday, So you're supposed to drink these crowlers within 2 to 3 days. So we are at that mark. So I was a little concerned, but apparently my concern was unfounded.
I'm going to keep it in the can and do it in a beautiful game koozie.
They're looking sexy. And we have our new Beautiful Game magnets.
Yes.
Yep.
Leave us a comment or
review,
whatnot on iTunes, and we would greatly appreciate it. We'll get one out to you for $3.50 free.
They look good on your smoker. Let's put one on mine. Ooh, this beer smells.
That smells so good.
Juicy as it's supposed to be. Ron loves that word, juicy.
Extra juicy.
All right, gents. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cilantro, boys.
Well, I loved both of these beers today.
That's pretty tasty.
That's
a different IPA,
yeah.
but a damn good IPA.
Yeah, very different. Like a very different vibe.
This one is much more hops off the initial taste, and then it kind of smooths out.
This is
it's not very sweet, so there's not a ton of malt in it, but it's still pretty well balanced.
This would be a good kegs and eggs beer, man. This is breakfast. It definitely has that juicy vibe to it.
Yeah, that's definitely
that citrus. Man, that head retention.
That's good.
The head retention's pretty awesome, man. It looks like a pour at Oktoberfest.
Head retention.
Oktoberfest.
So shall we jump into some beer news?
Yeah, I didn't touch it because you said there was a surprise. So I didn't.
There is a surprise.
It's a surprise that keeps on giving the whole year.
The whole year. One of you guys is going to have to take a picture of this one because I'll be doing the beer news.
All right, you do the beer news. I got it. It won't be a sexy Ron picture, but I'll try.
So here's the question. Is your surprise that COVID-19 was cured? No.
Wait, no, that's not the surprise.
Is your surprise that MLS soccer is going to return very soon? No. Your surprise, specifically, my friend Blake, is that Allagash returns to Florida.
Oh. Hey guys, I gotta go run to the store right now and go pick up something.
Blake, that was the first beer that you had on the pod, right?
No. I had
21st Amendment.
21st Amendment. But Allagash quickly followed.
I feel like Ron and I brought some back because quickly Allagash, shortly after moving into this house, disappeared from Florida. It was not long after they were no longer distributed, and it was a sad, sad day. Oh, it was Ron.
It's actually before you moved into your house, because the Portland, Maine brewery returns to the Florida market starting June 1st after a 10-year hiatus.
Wow,
I can't believe it's been 10 years. Allagash White, which is their Belgian wit, is by far their most popular. Their second favorite is River Trip, and that's a Belgian-style session ale. Those are the two that are going to be offered in Florida, and they're going to only be sold through Total Wine stores.
Whoa. What's this only two in Florida crap?
Yeah.
I need the Allagash White. Give me white or give me death.
Allagash White and River Trip.
Yeah, but what about the double and the triple?
Nope.
That's
but
some crap.
Those hadn't been in Florida for a long time anyway.
Look, here's the deal, Florida. You need to buy all the white Allagash so that they go, oh, I guess we should add other beers down there.
Yep.
That's still my best favorite Belgian white that exists. The only other one that's as close is the one by St. Bernardus Brewing. Their Belgian wit and the Allagash White are, I think, my two favorite of the style. The St. Bernardus is the perfect quintessential version of the Belgian style, and then the Belgian wit is like by Allagash is like the best American craft version ever.
Yeah, it's my favorite Belgian wit, hands down, is the Allagash, and you'll be able to buy it in 16-ounce 4-packs. Or 12-ounce 12-packs.
What date?
June 1st.
All right, Ferris.
That's right around the corner.
May 26th. I reckon I know what my next beer is going to be.
You know what's funny is I fly to China on the 29th.
Oh man.
Timing could have been better, Ron.
I know, right?
you could get random beers in China. We couldn't. For all we know, Allagash is going to be there.
That's fair.
Aren't you getting a stone brewery built up beside where you live, near where you live?
As a matter of fact, that's true.
That is cool, and I can't wait for you to find like cool stuff that you can't get here there.
Yeah. So,
good God, this beer's good. Sorry, this beer's really good.
Allagash is currently sold in 17 states and the District of Columbia.
Of course.
So
that's about as far south as it goes. No, I guess North Carolina, right? Then it kind of stops.
Yeah, North and South Carolina.
We don't talk about South Carolina. That's North Carolinians. We don't talk about them.
So I was over the moon, and it was so hard to not text you and tell you that, to actually wait for a podcast.
Oh, I'm going to go to bed
difficult.
so happy tonight. Are you kidding? It'd be the first thing I say to my wife when I walk out of here. Guess what? It's back, baby.
So in other beer news, this is another really popular brewing company, Russian River Brewing Company from Santa Rosa, California. They started around 1997. Their flagship beer, which we've had, Blake and I have had. Oh. Yeah, it wasn't on the pod. Pliny the Elder is their flagship beer, a Belgian-inspired double or imperial IPA, which they brew year-round, which is only available in draft. We got it in a growler from one of our snobby beer friends who had some sent, and we were able to try it.
Yeah, one of our original Jedi masters in the way of beer.
The ways of beer and hops.
Oh wait, I'm sorry, Ron. What is this segment called?
This is just the top news, top beer news.
Hey, on, ladies and gentlemen, all the news. It is the news about beer today. Here we are with Ron Keller with your beer news. Sorry, I forgot to do that at the beginning.
1 second on the ponies. Here we go.
I couldn't find my cup to do it with.
Funny.
Here we are. Here we go. Ron, hit the newsreels and let us know what's going on with the beer news of the day.
God, we're idiots.
So Russian River Brewing Company put out another beer, and that's only available for like 3 weeks to a month a year. Pliny the Younger.
Rusky River puts out risky beer. Pliny the Younger.
It does sound like a 1920s mobster.
It does.
It really does.
Yeah, that's what made me. That's why I knew I forgot to do that. Is because when he said Pliny the Elder, I was like, Pliny the Elder. I was like, oh crap, I forgot to do the stupid intro.
Stupid. Will you wash your mouth? There's no stupid. It's a classy intro for a fine beer news segment.
Oh, I'll never forget the recording I have of Ferris going, that's the best thing you've ever done on this show.
So their Russian River Brewing's Pliny the Younger Belgian-inspired triple IPA is a once-a-year release, typically draft only, until this year, which is the first year it was bottled. Now get this, gents.
But you can't get that at all. Yeah.
It drew visitors from 47 states and 14 countries. 23,525 people showed up at the brewery.
Do you know in the homebrew community, the Pliny the Elder and Pliny the Younger, like, attempts at like clone style recipes are some of the most popular ones. People trying to get as close as possible because they can't buy the beer, so they try to make it. Yeah. So that doesn't surprise me at all, actually. Yeah, that's crazy.
So that means they broke it down in the stats. 2.7 people per group spent roughly $194 per group on this bottled beer, generating $5.1 million to the local economy there in Santa Rosa, California. They broke it down even further. Wow. Roughly $445 per group on lodging, $580 on flights. That's 22.6% more than the same 2-week period in the release in 2019. $5.1 million to the local economy for a beer.
Hold on, I'm trying to look it up.
That's awesome.
So Santa Rosa, I was just curious, population as of 2010, because the census is about to go out, but city, 167,000. Estimate for 2019, 176,000. That's not a big city.
No.
To have what did you say brought in?
$5.1 million to the local economy.
That's huge, because I think
lodging, food, flights,
yes,
and the beer.
For those of us who have spent most of their lives only in the East Coast and have not gone to California, you tend to forget, much like as people do about New York, think it's always New York City. California is not just LA and San Diego and like Sacramento. It is a huge state with a lot of small places.
Yeah.
That's not a big city. It's in Sonoma County, wine country, but like, good grief, man. Yeah, that's not a ton of people to bring in that much just for one release of a beer.
Yep.
That's crazy.
And could they even did they even know they were going to guarantee to get the beer?
No, because the brewery only made 40,000 bottles.
Oh, what do they sell them for?
Well,
$1 million.
This is Pliny the Younger or Pliny the Elder bottle, or both? Sorry,
Younger is the more popular one. So the bottles were $10 US.
Pliny, I don't know how it's pronounced. Pliny,
I think it's Pliny.
Okay.
The bottles were $10 US each, and minutes after people bought them, there were bottles on eBay, and
buddy, I'm looking at one for $50 right now.
That's what I was going to say.
Damn.
People were selling the bottles they bought for the highest I saw that it was sold for was $210 US.
This one is a buy it now
Sheesh.
for $50. Russian River Brewing Company, Pliny the Younger, empty bottle / wristband box, $50.
Yeah. No thanks.
Not even an actual. Oh my God.
Yeah. And you know what's even weirder news is that they released it in February, basically just after Valentine's Day, and they had a 2-week run. And in March, everything went to hell in a handbasket for COVID. So these guys released it just before everything closed down.
Oh, wow.
Could you imagine being this brewery and bringing in $5.1 million to the local economy for a single beer?
That's crazy.
And Ferris, do you know who Pliny the Younger is? Where the name comes from?
Do not.
He's Gaius Plinius Caecilius Secundus, born Gaius Silius or Gaius Silius Silo, better known as Pliny the Younger, was a lawyer, author, and magistrate of ancient Rome. Pliny's uncle, Pliny the Elder, helped raise and educate him. I wonder
that Pliny.
That guy. You remember Gaius Plinius Caecilius Secundus. Like that guy. I'm trying to figure out.
Call me?
I'm trying to figure out why he was why the name. You know, like why they did that. He wrote hundreds of letters. 247 of them survive. So we know who this is. So that's interesting. Now I'm going to go down a rabbit hole tonight of Pliny the Younger and Pliny the Elder, because I love me some Roman history, figuring out why they named.
Why would they choose that name?
Yeah, and I don't want to start at their website. I want to start with the history first, and then I'll go to their website and find out.
Yeah, right.
But he came in contact with other well-known men of the period, including philosophers Artemidorus and Euphrates the Stoic. Look, guys.
No kidding, not Euphrates.
No, that needs to be the beer we make that goes crazy. Euphrates
right?
the Stoic. The Stoic Stout. Yeah,
love it.
Because
that'd be so funny.
That's a great name. I love it. That's what we're gonna do.
So yeah, that's some great beer news for Russian River Brewing Company.
Hell yeah,
a great! Look at all that money generated to the local economy for a 2-week period. That's so great.
That's awesome.
That is amazing. Man, I can't believe it's a ton of empty bottles on eBay.
Yeah.
All for $50 and more. What did you say?
I don't want the empty bottle.
What did you say the price was? With it in it? With it?
So the brewery was selling it for $10 US a bottle, but people were buying a few bottles and then selling them for 150, 250 bucks online. And the highest price I saw sold was $250.
I mean, look, that's nice, but it ain't the price of that awesome Fuller's Vintage Ale from 2005 that we had
right.
for your going away to China party.
That was pretty phenomenal.
I'll still forget, like, I should look this up real quick. Oh my Lord. I cannot wait to tell them this in the middle of the show. This is a $400 bottle of beer.
True story. So beer sales out of this COVID are doing well.
Do you have? Is it specific in general? Is it to craft beer?
Well, hold on. I'll break it down for you.
Boom!
Oh.
Hey, here we go. Breaking it down for you live now on the Beer News. Ron Keller, Beer Breakdown Report.
So beer sales topped $983 million for the week ending May 9th, which is a 33% increase over March for specifically off-premises sales, meaning, you're going to go to your favorite place, pick up a six-pack to go. Yeah. Craft beer sales were up 23.7%. AB InBev is up 32%. And Michelob Ultra has the most growth out of all the AB InBev beers, which is kind of interesting to note since they own half the world of beer.
Wait, sorry. Who had the Michelob Ultra has the most growth? Is that what you were saying?
Out of AB InBev's lineup of beers.
Gotcha.
And then Miller Coors is up 16.3%, with Coors Light and Miller Lite taking up most of their growth.
So then what I'm looking at, so InBev and Miller, InBev up 32%, Miller 16%, that's grocery store. I'm stuck at home. I'm just as we've all been doing, I've learned how to plan meals way better, and you just stock up, right? So that's the grocery store. So then the craft sales up 23%. I would love to know the breakdown of, because obviously there's still craft beer at your grocery store. I mean, for us, we have Publix, and that's a pretty standard American fare for a normal grocery store, I feel like. And their craft beer is, but there's they do a decent amount of Florida local beer, but then their other craft beer is beer that it's craft, but it's owned by InBev now or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's Goose Island.
Yeah, with the exception of the local,
Tampa Brewing and
Right.
And they've got some other stuff like Abita, and they might have
Three Daughters,
Sierra Nevada, that kind of stuff that isn't owned by, but they have some Dogfish and stuff, and then they have the majority of their craft then switches over to Florida beer, like you were saying. But I would love to know this breakdown of the 23% of how much is craft beer at the grocery store and how much is this part of the 33% increase of the off-premise beer sales of craft.
I don't have that breakdown for the craft beer. My guess is that the craft beer sales being up is more for so many breweries doing to-go orders, and you can just run down the street and pick it up and bring it home. And
I am with you, man. I feel like, from my experience for the craft beer joints I've hit up, I do not want it to go away because, I mean, everybody's not in the same boat, right? With having a little kid, I'd like to go out to someone's having a limited run brew. Well, if I can just go ahead and do a pre-order, because I don't have the ability to hang out like I'd like to, but I can still make a run and just pick up a growler or a crowler or a six pack or whatever. That's freaking awesome. Yep. And it makes it much more, I mean, let's be honest, they make more money on that than their it's nice if they can get their six pack in the local grocery store, but they make more of it if they can sell it at their brewery.
Right. Yeah, because Publix does, or your local grocery store takes a chunk out of that, and because of volume sales.
Yeah,
right?
and then you get to tip the local dude that's working there. Or
your money's going. If you buy at the brewery, it's going to the brewery.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't want it to go away, and that is just, I think, along with a lot of the food delivery and stuff, I think it will drop a bit, but I think it will never be like it used to. I think it will always be a much larger part of their business than it was prior.
Yeah. I think it's revolutionizing the beer industry as a whole. It's the way it's going.
Isn't it wild? If craft beer, goes ahead again, makes another leap now that wouldn't have happened without this. I was just reading an article about how there are several things that should have taken decades to get there based on how we were going, but now may happen immediately. And it was examples like businesses that are handling that help with work from home situations. Well, that was coming, but it might have been 20 years away. And now, boom, those companies all of a sudden are cutting edge, and they're going to do great, that are part of this. And it's crazy because craft beer's had its boom, and now it's had its big bang, for lack of a better term, and it's like its slower growth. But that's huge. I mean, that's another huge growth. Also, the cool thing that people were doing who may not have been into craft beer or whatever, but people that just were like, they saw their towns suffering, and you could buy stuff from your local town. So I wonder how many people tried these craft beer places for the first time ever. Because what's interesting? That's a good question. Oh, you know what's interesting psychologically? So let's say you're like, you're just like, I just like Miller Lite. I've never really tried anything crazy, and it's like a little intimidating because you get around nerds like us that talk about all this beer and stuff, and even though we try to be like real cool and like inviting to people, it might be intimidating. This is the opportunity for you to go online, look stuff up, order it, or and then just pick it up and come home and see what you like and don't. And no one's there to judge you. No one's there to You know what I mean?
It's like an online. It's like a Amazon for beer. Right. You have the autonomy of no one else knowing what you're ordering, but it's either delivered to your house or you can go and get it. So if you are trying something for the first time, or you're not sure, really, only you are going to know that, and you're going to make that decision on whether you want something or not.
If you go to Crooked Can or any of these breweries locally, and you walk and you say, "Look, I'm just kind of like a Miller Lite guy. What should I get?" That bartender will point you into the right craft beer area to get you started. It's the people that sit around at the bar that are jerks about it. You say
exactly.
That, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you came here for Miller Lite.
Yeah. So this is actually like it literally just popped in my head. I had not even thought of it before, but I would love to know the people that get into stuff that maybe wouldn't have it, really just wanted to be cool and support something local,
Yeah. And you're not fighting for shelf space on your local grocery store. So your overhead's lower.
Yeah.
Right. So if people are buying, curbside pickup of your beer, you have less overhead than Publix does.
Oh, by far, man. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right. So this is probably going to be a second breath of fresh air for the craft beer industry.
So Suncreek in specific for me, because since I have, got that new smoker a couple weeks ago, and I'm back into smoking. It's a pellet smoker, uses wood pellets, and there's I can order them online, but there's the local guy that I bought the grill from, who's got a small place, a smoke shack or a restaurant in Clermont, Florida. I'd rather go to him and give him my money, because if I order it online, it's the same price. It's $19.99. It's the same price. I'd rather give him my money. But now knowing this, this is, for example, every time I go do that, as soon as I pick the pellets up, I'm going to go online and order something to pick up from Suncreek, and on the way home, snag that, even since I don't live in Clermont, because I can just do it on the way home. It's 10 minutes away from where I'm picking up the wood supply. And I would never have done that if this didn't exist. But literally, you just go online, tap. And I was blown away actually by, I didn't know the Apple Pay thing, the way that it worked when you were like on a website that did it. I've done it like at a grocery store or whatever, but like I just typed in, I want these things, I want these things, I want these things. And then it says, how do you pay? One of the options, Apple Pay. So I click Apple Pay, and it just says you got to double tap the phone. It's got to see your face to unlock it. Done. Then I'm done, because it sends them my email for receipt, and it gives them my name as the purchaser on the card, obviously.
Right.
So then I didn't do anything else. It literally took no time. Then, which maybe that's its own scary thing for our Orwellian 1984 podcast. We can do that elsewhere. But I just like, oh crap, I'm done. It's done in 15 minutes. I just go pick it up. Like, that's so friggin' cool. And the fact that they do growlers, I think, is key. For me, a growler sucks because I have to attempt to drink that in a day or two. The
Right.
crowlers you still need to have in 2 to 4 days, but then I can pick up a 4-pack of 16-ounce crowler canned, which if you've never seen those, they look like pounder cans. It's just
Tall boys, yeah.
they can fill them up and then put the top on and seal it, but they open like a can. So that's perfect.
But I will say that that everyone's calling crowlers by the wrong name. A 16-ounce tall boy is still a pint. It's 1 can of beer. A crowler is 32 ounces.
Correct.
A growler is 64 ounces.
Yeah, I think what it is that people were getting confused. They wanted to hear crowler to know that it was in a can, whether it was a 16 or a 32-ounce can. Like the average person wanted to hear the CROW because they did not want a growler. So I have a feeling that it's going to be one of those things that the term just changes industry-wide since now. Because used to you could only get 32-ounce crowlers. The 16-ounce is new. That's a fairly
These are
new
just
thing.
tall boy cans.
It's a pint, to what you said. It's a pint that you would get in a respectable bar or grill.
If you're selling, you have to be careful. You can't say it's a tall boy or a pint. You need to allude that it's a crowler because you're saying this is from the tap, not meant to be canned, so you have to drink this in a couple of days. It's not like a can that you can just throw in the fridge for a month.
Yeah, I get
mean?
it. I get it, but
it's for the average person. You know what I'm saying?
Still not.
Yeah.
Still, I'm a purist. It's not right.
Oh, you're that guy at the bar that you walk in. You're ordering a Miller Lite here? Yeah, you're that guy.
I am not that person.
Yeah. I need myself some Miller Lite.
So let's see, another beer.
The High Life.
Oh, gross. Keystone Light in a can.
If I'm going to have one, give me the High Life with the authentic from the 70s High Life chalice. Yeah. I used to have one of those chalices because I found one at a flea market. I don't know what happened to it in a move, but I was like, I have to get this when I saw it.
So, all right, hold on. I have a quick story. Speaking of flea market type things. So recently this is actually a pretty good story. So recently I moved and I was selling a bunch of stuff, right? It's just stuff that I had in my closet for years that you don't really you don't use or have or whatnot. So
and we're all doing a lot of that right now, going through and trying to get rid of crap.
Yeah. Right. So if you listen to the last pod, you heard me talking to somebody else about selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, right.
So I was talking to my girlfriend about we were trying to sell a bunch of stuff.
You're whispering, but you're whispering into your microphone.
Correct. Well, one of the things that we were selling
I'm
on
there. Try to be quiet now, honey. Yes. Just sell that on.
So one of the things we were selling was this 300 poster with Leonidas on the cover with his, war battle that said, "Tonight we dine in hell." It was this canvas, right?
Something tells me she didn't own that.
No, she did not.
Now I have a Leonidas story, but go ahead.
Well, here's the thing, is I owned it, but I don't remember that I owned it. I just found it in my closet as I'm moving shit out of it, right? So it's this canvas and this thing. Well,
this canvas?
It's this canvas-like print framed thing, right? Jesus. So this guy wants to buy it. The dude drove from Daytona to buy it for $5.
Wow. Cost him more in gas than...
Exactly. So we were going just to give it to him for free, right? Because you're driving from the Daytona, you're committed to this.
You're doing me a favor.
I don't want it. Right. Just have it, right?
Yeah.
So we get here. This guy's face looks like he just saw Father Christmas on the first day. He could not have been happier that he saw this poster. Come to find out, he is very adamant about handing over the $5. We're like, no, I have it. He's like, no, I'm giving you $5. Come to find out, he said, I saw this poster 10 years ago in a Daytona flea market and have not been able to find it since. When I saw it at the
Ferris,
flea
was that
market,
you 10 years ago that bought it?
No, it was not.
Oh, I was going to say, if it was the same one, that'd have been even better.
So no, it was not. But that he saw it 10 years ago, wanted to buy it, but his wife wouldn't let him have it because he wanted to put it over their dining room table because the poster said, "Tonight we dine in hell." So he said, so we're like, oh, okay. And he goes, well, now I'm divorced and I'm putting it over my dining room table.
That's brilliant.
So the dude would have paid like $100 for it if we wanted to. He could not have been happier that he finally found this poster that he saw 10 years ago, and his wife at the time didn't allow him to have it. And he found it, drove from Daytona, and is now going to have this over his dining room table for $5. Like,
So my Leonidas story is much shorter, but I'm going to tell it because we need content in these days. Way back in the day, I was working somewhere else, and I was holding auditions, and performers were coming in. And a guy come in, we'll call him Jonathan, because Jonathan's a good name. That if it's on someone's resume, are you Jonathan or do you go by John? You know, what's your name? What do you go by? So he goes up there and he's presents himself, and I have a couple questions on the resume, and he goes to audition, and I was like, hey, Jonathan, or is it John? Do you go by? What do you go by? He goes, actually, folks call me Leonidas, and it was dead quiet in the theater room for the audition. I was like, so Jonathan, I see. I was like,
Leonidas.
What a jackhole. Now he turned out to be really good, actually, and we ended up using him. But I never forgot that. And what was amazing is he tried to get the entire cast to call him Leonidas, and literally he'd be like, "No, my nickname's Leonidas," and they're all like, "You don't get to name yourself that."
Yeah, you don't get to name your nickname.
No,
that's not how that goes.
Especially if it's Leonidas.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that.
Really, his nickname ends up becoming like Dozer or, or some weird like that.
Jackhole, according to Blake.
Yeah.
Jackhole.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny.
An underused but well appreciated insult.
Well done.
He was. You know what? You probably casted the same guy that drove from Daytona to buy a canvas print just to put over his dining room table to get back at his ex-wife.
10 years ago.
The night we died in hell. Yeah.
It could have been.
So the question is, does he take a picture of his own face and superimpose it and paste it?
If it was 100%.
If it was the guy that
100%.
Yeah, if it was the guy that interviewed with me, yes. The answer is yes.
No questions asked.
Emphatically. That was a nice detour. Sorry, Ron, to detour your beer.
Yeah, we derailed the out of this.
No worries. No worries in the least. So the last item that we have to chat about, more beer festivals across the nation pulling the plug.
Yeah, I mean, this goes for so many kind of live events, but it just sucks.
Yeah, or Oregon Brew Festival in Portland pulled the plug. Very popular one. Bend Brew Fest in Bend, Oregon. Another very popular brew fest gone. Great Taste of the Midwest, Madison, Wisconsin, pulled the plug. Craft Brewers Conference in San Antonio pulls the plug. The Savor Beer and Food Pairing event in Washington, D.C., which is a really great one.
I want to go to that. That sounds like what I want to do. That sounds.
Yeah,
awesome.
they pull the plug. Homebrew Con in Nashville.
Oh, that sounds fun.
They pull it. And what really sucks is a lot of these festivals or brew fests that are being, pulled right now are local chapters of the Craft Brewers Association, right? And that is essentially a nationwide association of different, clubs for brewing. And a lot of these local clubs rely on the money that they get from these different beer festivals to keep things going.
It's actually a point that is worth hammering home, in that for people listening who do dig craft beer, we live in a really awesome time where we have more than we've ever had before. And so it feels to the point where craft beer is ubiquitous, except that you have to remember this isn't a 2 or 3 large companies that can weather a storm. Craft beer has become a large body, but is a large body made of very small individual
entity.
companies.
So you can like chip away at it
Yes.
with something like this.
And not just chip away, cut off huge chunks of it potentially. It is definitely worth repeating. If you have the ability to support a local brewer, please do it, because this is the stuff that's huge for them. They would go to these things, and if a local brewer could get like a silver or bronze medal or place somewhere interesting, that gives them the ability to come back to, if you're in Central Florida or wherever, to hotels, to restaurants, and say, hey, this is what we just did. Let me try to pitch you buying kegs from us for your restaurant. This sucks more than just the money handed over at the festival.
Correct.
It is far bigger ripples than that, let alone, as you pointed out about what happened with Pliny the Younger, the money brought into these towns
Right.
on these festivals. And yeah, a town like Portland, they have a lot of festivals. Well, guess what? They're all done.
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, like, art festivals, whatever, they're all.
And
like,
here's the thing: it's not just these beer festivals and Oktoberfest and all these other things that bring in. It also draws into the community. It draws a certain stream of revenue to hotels, to restaurants, to bars, to the local entertainment and tourism area. Like, it draws it into everything. So shutting down something like these type of things will shut down a lot of other entities within the city.
Yeah, it's rough.
And also, if you're a home brewer who is trying to take your flagship beer for your home brew and maybe open up a small brewery so that one day you can be the next Sierra Nevada, you're getting help from your local craft brewers association. Yep. And if they're not there to help you, you're not there to become the next Sierra Nevada. So places...
There's some cool, I was going to say, but you've got some cool, interesting, I was going to say, people that can pivot are who will survive. Just like we're talking about Suncreek with how awesome their online ordering has been. And actually this next bit of news you got kind of speaks to that, like who can pivot.
Right. So a cool example of this is the Oklahoma Craft Beer Summit. They decided very early that they were going to cancel but go virtual. So they sold tickets, and it sold out in 4 days. And your ticket comes with the online portal that you get to sign into, and then you get 24 beers from all of the entrants.
So is that like
delivered to your house?
A can
That's
or
cool.
that's way more than you would get if you were there. You would get like I wonder when it says 24 beers, because at a festival you usually have a little tasting cup.
Do you get a little, do you get a little
So a lot of these a lot of these, from the research I've done, have been 12-ounce cans.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So you're getting an actual beer.
It sucks that we did not get in on that, gentlemen. We should have jumped on that. Wow.
So you get your 24 beers, you get to taste, you get to vote, and then when you sign in and essentially watch the festival happen, you get to listen to beer experts tasting all 24 beers, talking about the 24 beers, also talking about the breweries. So maybe,
which is actually, that's a way you might not get that at the festival. If you had gone to a live festival,
you would definitely get the exposure to all 24 breweries, but you wouldn't get essentially one-on-one time with the breweries.
That's awesome.
Right? So you get that in these, right? And a couple of weeks ago, I talked about a couple of different other craft beer festivals in Europe kind of going virtual, right? Well, more and more of these summits and festivals and things are all going virtual. And here's the other thing that's really great is that the Oklahoma Craft Beer Summit only spent $3,000 on the infrastructure to hold this festival virtually, and they made over $50K. So they clear so much more. An actual physical event costs way more than the $3,000. Right.
And then think about the money that each brewery spent to travel and to those are big expenses for the breweries as well.
Yep. Plus they've got to they're not flying, they're trucking all their beer, right? Because you're not going to fly all that beer.
Right.
So it's a cost savings for a lot of different people. It's a moneymaker for your craft brewing, your local craft brewers association. So you really should support these whenever you find them.
100%.
I'm signed up for 3 different ones. I won't be able to make one because it's on the 20 or the 30th. I'll be in the air. But the other 2 I will be able to make, but I'll be calling in the middle of the night in China. So I supported 2 different ones. One's in Maine and the other one's in Pennsylvania, to, basically give these a go and see what
What's the one in PA?
see what they're all about. PA is the Pittsburgh Craft Brewing Association.
Okay, I just was wondering. When I used to live there, I went to the big festival that was in Harrisburg. The big beer
gotcha.
festival. I don't know if it was that one.
Yeah. So in some other, beer festivals that are pulling the plug, Germany's Oktoberfest, which draws 2 million people annually, canceled.
Yeah, I think we might have mentioned that in the last pod because they think they had just dropped the news. But that is another perfect example of, forget the money Pliny the Younger brought in. The money that the Oktoberfests bring in from travelers all over the world.
Yep.
Ooh.
To all parts of Germany.
Yeah.
Not just Munich.
Not just Munich. You are, to be honest, if I go, one day I'd like to bucket list Munich, but I'd rather go, what's a cool little German town that would be surprised some Americans walking around, like checking it out, and go to that Oktoberfest. Yeah, that's a huge loss for all those places.
2 million people annually. That's a ton of dough.
That is And
it's
like Mardi Gras, but a Mardi Gras happening everywhere, not just in New Orleans. You know what I mean? Like across the whole country. That's just, man.
And this is the first time it's been canceled since World War II.
Oh, crap. That's super depressing.
Yeah. The Great American Beer Festival is still taking place. It goes virtual October 16th and 17th, which is about a 1-month delay from when they would normally have it. Normally it takes place in like the mid-20s of September, but now they're pushing it to October 16 and 17.
Wait.
It is
as a virtual one?
Yep, virtual.
Huh. Talk to us about details, Ron. I feel like we need to know, because I feel like, well, now wait a minute.
That's what I'm here for.
We may need to do that, Ferris.
You're right.
Let's make sure we both have off that day.
Right. If you were to go to Denver for the Great American Beer Fest, it usually takes place in a convention center in downtown Denver in the mid-20s of September.
And it's like the Comic-Con of, it's huge.
Right.
It's
the largest consumer-facing beer festival in the country.
And it's
as
the
well
one
as
that if you medal at, that's huge for your company.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has the most weight for that kind of thing. It's the largest beer competition in all of the U.S. and typically draws 60,000 plus people in 2 days. So they pushed it to go virtual on October 16 and 17. Details are yet to be announced. This is like hot off the wire, gents, because they made the decision 2 days ago.
Ding, hot off the wire. We've got.
Thank you, Blake, for the time.
Here quickly, hot off the wire. We've got news from Ron Cullum at the Great American Beer Fest going virtual.
Competition will still happen. It currently has 7,000 entries for different beers and different beer styles with 100 judges, and the registration will open June 9th. So if you want to buy tickets, you got to go to greatamericanbeerfestival.com.
What does your ticket get you?
A selection
you can't get
of entries, as well as essentially a calendar. There's going to be all these different classes and workshops and discussions and panels.
So that you could take part of. Oh, that's
and
really
you'll be
cool.
able to basically sign in. It's kind of like WebEx, right? You sign in to the classes or the panel discussions that you want to take part in.
Come on, Ferris. That's a Friday and a Saturday in October. We could swing one of those.
Could we?
Could we? Let's just let's see if we can't get a
That's
little
middle of the month. Maybe if we start asking off now, we might have a chance at one of those. Yeah.
We'll work remotely that day.
Exactly.
Yeah, right?
Just keep the beers out of the view of the camera.
Yeah. That whole 32-hour work week thing, right? We can do one of those.
So the craft beer industry, like a lot of other industries, is just as a certain wonderful actor from Jurassic Park once said, craft beer just simply finds a way.
Yeah. Your whole report on this, to be honest, I was going to say is when people think about the idea of your American dream and making it, this is such a cool example of people like a particular industry
figuring out ways.
And I think part of it is they're not just trying to make money. Obviously you are as a business, but these people are in the craft beer because they love it. So they are both passion and necessity, as they say, necessity is the mother of invention. They're refusing to go quietly into the night and are trying to figure out ways to make it work.
And it really seems like, after a bit of an adjustment period, they are succeeding, with craft beer sales being up 23.7%. They're succeeding in finding ways to reach consumers, lower their overhead.
InBev don't like that. The fact that people were just easily going up and buying stuff at the window to go.
Yeah, especially if you think about,
they're still up 30-some% or whatever.
No. What I'm saying is they don't like, because that's the craft beer only. You know what I mean? Getting that bump. The breweries.
I think Blake brings up a good point. AB InBev and Miller Coors are really making all their money from grocery store, right? Your Instacarts and your buying from Kroger and having it delivered to your house. Whereas craft beer sales are much more local driven, right? So this is actually, a lot of people are worried about the economy, which I totally understand, but there's a lot of negativity for the economy and the regrowth of business. But here you can tell the craft beer industry,
little shining light there in the darkness.
It's coming back.
A little bit, yeah.
And, all these different festivals that are turning virtual to still keep the tide moving for craft beer while still being able to take care of their employees and their shareholders and things like that.
And you know what? Talking about things that aren't going to go back. If that's a success for them, right? They're going to have it next year. I'm not saying they're going to not do the live version, but you best believe that if the virtual version is a success, coinciding with the being there, they will offer a ticket, a thing that you can do virtually as well.
Yeah.
I guarantee it. Because why not? If you can say, oh yeah, we're still going to sell all the tickets to people that can show up and are going to come here. And then we're also going to offer a virtual thing. And then you can say to breweries hey, do you want to make enough cans to be on our list to send to those people? Because that's just advertisement for you.
Yeah.
So you better believe that they will not just drop that idea the following year, that there will be some sort of, the exclusive stuff is you have to be there for. And I would do that too. You know what I mean?
Right.
But they're going to do something that coincides. And if you buy a ticket, maybe you can watch live speeches or panels or whatever, or still, after the panel's over, if you've bought a virtual ticket, you can do a virtual one-on-one. Who knows? But I mean, you would be smart to also keep something up.
Yeah.
After this
and,
happens.
At the end of the day, the faster and easier you can get your product into the consumer's hand, the better.
Yeah.
And the more of that you make.
Yeah. Yeah.
The more money.
So the best thing is, yes, of course, serve people at your location, using the social distancing rules of your local authorities and all that kind of stuff. But definitely keep the online sales for curbside pickup, because that is one of the easiest ways you can make money with the lowest amount of overhead.
And just imagine this, like, because this would get me. Okay. Oh, so-and-so brewery. Oh man, they got beer I really want to try. And all of a sudden I open my Twitter, open my Facebook or whatever, or I'm signed up on their email list. And it's like, hey, just so you know, we're down to our last 5 kegs of that beer already. If you want to go ahead and make sure you get some, call in an order or online order for a couple of crowlers or whatever. Now you'd be like, oh crap, I'm going to go run and get that. Like,
so that exact example happened for me, because Broken Strings Brewery is essentially contracting out Suncreek Brewery for liquid vinyl. And the Suncreek Brewing had the last natural keg of liquid vinyl in Central Florida, and I got 4 cans off that last keg.
See, but that's what I'm talking about. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. There's opportunity. That's the thing, and that's such an American concept. It's to find the opportunity that the crazy situation is presenting.
Right.
To
figure out a way
to make it work for you.
Right. And to like that article I read today said, get change to happen that could have taken decades. You could actually go ahead and do now. If
you're pushed and you're motivated to do that because of the circumstances.
It's adapt or die.
Yeah,
right. You wouldn't necessarily think of it in just normal daily life routines. That
and not just for you as
live.
a business, but as the consumer, in the sense that 4 months ago, hey, come, we got our easy takeout, whatever. But now people are like, no, I like that. And I got to tell you, man, I think it's going to be a big thing, because one common thread I hear from a lot of people. Again, people that are fortunate to continue to work from home, and for those of you that can't, like, thoughts are with you on that front. But for folks that are able to kind of keep some semblance of working at home for the time being, are saying that once they go back to normal, there's a lot of things that they got back in touch with.
We're going to alter.
Hang out at home, the cooking more at home and stuff. There's no reason you got to leave out hanging out at your local brewery for that. Just go pick up the beer then for your food. You know, if they make it easy, and now that you've gotten in the habit of doing that during the shutdown, like I said, there's every time I go to Clermont to go pick up supplies to smoke meat, I am always going to hit up Suncreek on the way home. Every time. Why not?
Yeah.
Oh, you see, Ron, you went from kind of depressing news to very hopeful and inspiring there. I like that.
See what I do there?
Yeah, that was good. That was good. Oh, that was really good.
Had to leave you on a high note.
Yeah, man.
And that's all the beer news that's fit to print.
All the beer news that's fit to print. Here today. Beautiful game news. I got to get on recording something official for us.
Can you tell your dad joke with talking into the cup?
Oh, well, now you make me feel like I need a different one, though.
What?
Well, I mean, the answer is yes, but I feel like it needs to be an old-timey kind of
an old-timey dad joke?
Yeah.
Like back when I took a horse, that was.
Back when I went to school, I walked uphill both ways.
Here you go. So here we go. We've about wrapped up the show.
The cup.
Hold on, we've about wrapped the show. So as always, you can follow us on brewfulgame.com. Follow us on Twitter at Brewful Game, Instagram, Untapped. Ron just updated both on our website and through Untapped all the beers we've done through the pod. We missed a bunch.
I'm not done yet.
Oh yeah,
I only did 19 of them.
Yeah, we still got more to go. So there's still a ton of beer that we've had, and we still have plenty more to go. There was a point about third into doing this podcast with you guys that I thought, crap, are we going to run out of beers? And
no way.
Think about the halfway point, another explosion occurred. I mean, look at the breweries we've had since we've opened that have opened in Florida around us.
How many beers we've had just from local breweries?
Yeah, Suncreek didn't exist when we opened. And here we are drinking a Sunkist beer that's based on a beer that was sold, that was around the world, done around the world. Which, by the way, the whole time this beer has gone down has been very good.
Real nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I brought a second one here just in case. I'm going to have that before I go to bed.
I have the second one as well. Thank you, Ron, by the way.
As
or Blake. I don't know which one to think of.
Well, Ron dropped it off, but I got it.
True,
yeah.
thank you.
What did I leave? Oh, as Ferris mentioned, we do have new magnets and we still have some koozies. So if you leave us a review on however you listen to us, Apple Podcasts or because it's not iTunes anymore, it's Apple Podcasts.
Oh, sorry.
But if you listen, I know I got to change it. So whatever. People still call it iTunes. It's fine. But Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, however you listen to us, just leave a rating, a review. If you take a screen grab of the review, just let us know. We'll send you out a magnet and a koozie. And the new magnets are nicer than the old ones. I mean, they look the same, but the material I really like on those things.
I think it's way better.
Yeah. Is that everything, gentlemen?
I think so.
All right, here we go. Let's see. I mean, I'm trying. It was really funny when I typed in 1920s here because I was like, well, no, I got to change the joke. Here we go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Ending out the Beautiful Game podcast, our 1920s dad joke. Why were the trousers not allowed to enter the school? Well, boys, they were suspended. Here you go. Welcome to there was the Beautiful Game dad joke from the 1920s.
I mean, I think it was funnier out of all the ones you've ever done.
I agree.
It's the fact that it had the word trousers in it made the 1920s work. I'm so glad you suggested I had something else, but you said this. Wait, 1920. There's got to be 20s dad joke somewhere. There we go.
School trousers and suspenders.
That joke was the bee's knees.
Well, that was the bee's knees, as they say. Oh, gentlemen,
well done.
Always a pleasure.
Yep. So the
Cheers,
next pod, I will be
You'll
in
be
China.
Back in China.
Yeah.
I still have one of your Chinese beers actually in my fridge, the green tea lager. I think I still have one left.
Oh, gotcha.
And a couple of beers that we were supposed to have with you. It's like a psychedelic looking can.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? I mean, back at your apartment, if there's still beer in your fridge, I don't know what's going to happen.
We'll probably have Alleygash in about 2 weeks' time.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Man, I am going to be so jealous.
Ron's going to call in and be like, hey, ready to do the show? I'm going to be hammered. Because I've already just had 10 of these. Yeah. Oh, so good. So good. Well, yeah. So you travel safe, Ron.
Thanks.
When we first talk to you, we'll be in a quarantine facility.
That's accurate.
So we'll see what service you get.
That should be entertaining.
Yeah.
Back on that 3G, baby.
Yeah, I can't. I'm excited to find, like, this can be an interesting experience. This is a brand new thing. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, it's going to be entertaining.
Yeah.
Quarantining in a government facility, and if I have good internet, then I will. I'll make sure I get some beer delivered. I can't guarantee that it'll be anything other than formaldehyde.
So
but...
Ron and I will be doing. Ferris and I will be doing a beer tasting while Ron is in his quarantine.
Yeah.
Like just listening, wishing. Okay, well.
It's going to be entertaining.
It's all right. It's all right. I just hate that you won't be here in case somehow Arsenal manages to come out and get ahead of Man United, and Ferris has got to drink some slap back, fist back, sniggity snack, butter snap. I don't know what it was called. The red snapper, red snapper. That's what it is.
I mean, either way, I win because one of you is drinking it.
It's true. Damn, this beer is good. All right, gentlemen.
Very good.
Fun as always. Love the beer. Cherish the game. The Beautiful Game. Cheers.
Cling, cling.
Sláinte.